Hi everyone, welcome back to MelDidItHerself. Today we are making over this kind of MCM style vintage dresser. You can see it has the classic MCM shaped legs, and otherwise it's in pretty great condition. I got it from a gentleman who was moving with his wife into a retirement home. I believe they've had it forever. He said it was from the 60s. And you can see it's in great shape. So we're just going to start off by taking all the hardware off of the piece and putting that aside in a little baggie so I don't lose it. And then I wiped it all down to give it a good clean. And then once it dried up, we started with sanding. So I'm using my Hitachi orbital sander here with 60 grit sandpaper. And I'm trying to get rid of that. You can see that top brown layer of paint. I think it's a latex style paint. I could have stripped it, but I got impatient, so I just decided to try and sand it down. And since I'm going to be painting this piece, I don't necessarily need it to be stripped down to the bare wood or anything. I just want to get rid of that shiny finish and basically make a smooth, even layer to be able to paint over. So once I had that kind of broken down with the 60 grit sandpaper, I went back with 120 grit sandpaper just to smooth everything out. And you can see this is what we were left with on the drawers. Again, I'm not gonna try and get it down to that bare wood. You can see there's a couple different layers of paint. We had the brown and then the red, and then it's kind of like a blonde wood underneath. I'm sure it would have been really beautiful to get that down to the blonde wood, but with those lines, I've tried before to get those sanded down, and it's not that fun. So I decided I'm just gonna paint the whole thing. So just getting rid of that dust from the sanding, just with a damp shop rag. And we're moving on to paint. So I chose to use this Dixie Belle Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint today. It's in the color Serenity. It's the first time I'm using this product, but I've heard good things. You can see the directions are super straightforward. Clean your piece, let it dry, and start painting. So I found the texture of this paint to be almost like a midway point between a mineral paint and a chalk paint. It was a little bit thicker than the mineral paints that I'm used to, for example, Fusion mineral paint, but it's because it's an all-in-one, so it's a little bit thicker. It has that top coat built in for durability, so it's a really easy thing for someone who's like just starting out doing DIYing, because you could do this project in honestly like a full day, or definitely a weekend. You can see this first coat of paint is really opaque. I did end up doing 2 full coats on the piece, but like look at that opaqueness. Like that's a first coat and it's over red and you can't see any of it. And normally with lighter colors, you have to do like a few coats over top of a color like red. And sometimes it even still shows through. So I was really impressed with this. I ended up doing, like I said, 2 full coats, but after that, like I really didn't need to do more. Again, top coat is built in, so that's great for that top surface because it gets a lot more wear and tear than the other pieces will. You certainly could put like a poly over top just for some added durability if you wanted to. But with this product, it's not necessarily necessary. If you decide to try out this product as well, there's always lots of Dixie Belle ambassadors that have coupon codes for discounts. So if you decide to give it a go, just look through, Google it. I'm sure you'll find a code to get, 15-20% off. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those, sorry. Okay, so moving on to those beautiful, sexy little legs on the bottom. I just started with 100 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going through and giving that a little bit of a shine. Well, I guess not literally the opposite of a shine. I'm trying to rough it up so that the paint will adhere a little bit better. I could have again gone through and brought it down to its natural wood, but just doing a quick flip today and just roughing it up so that the paint will adhere better. Like I said, the paint doesn't say that it needs this, but it never hurts to just give it a little bit of extra gripping action. So sanding that down, and then I just wiped all the dust away, and then went through and put a coat of the paint on it. And I think I ended up doing about like 1.5 coats because there was a couple spots, since it's a dark color underneath, that it was showing through, and I just wanted to make sure that it was nice and opaque. And a hot tip to keep them drying, I always just take a little box and put some holes in it to hold them sitting upwards so that they don't roll around when they're drying. And then I went ahead with some frog tape, taped off that line where it kind of naturally cut off. And then I'm using this Rust-Oleum Satin Bronze Metallic Paint and Primer in one. And I'm just trying to get the tips of those legs. It wasn't perfect because there's always kind of overspray, and I didn't want to use more tape, so I just did this method. And then after I took the tape off, after I did 2 coats of the spray paint, there was just a couple spots where I had to touch it up with the paint afterwards. I figured that was easiest. And then I'm going through with the hardware, and just to clean it up and get rid of any dirt and grit and grime, I'm using Barkeeper's Friend and some fine, actually it's very fine I think, or extra fine, steel wool. It's like the 000 one, so that it doesn't scratch the surface of it. But I'm just going through and kind of like shining that up. If there's any patina on it, this will get rid of it, and it just makes it for a clear surface because I am going to spray paint this hardware. I mean, depending what you're wanting to do with the color of the hardware, some people prefer to keep the patina on there. This one didn't honestly have that much on it, but when you see it kind of like, it looks aged and vintage. This is a method to get rid of that. You can also boil it in part vinegar and part water. It's called hardware soup in the industry, if you will. And it's a really good go-to method, but in this case, just trying to get it nice and cleaned, and you can see it's nice and shiny there. So I let that dry up, and then we're gonna go and give those a little paint to match the legs. So to start out, I'm using this Trim Clad Rust flat black spray paint as a primer, and then I'm gonna be going through with that same satin bronze on top of it. I did, I think I just did 1 solid coat of the black, let it dry, and then did 2 coats of the gold afterwards on both sides. And then we have the finished product. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you like how it turned out. And if you're interested in furniture makeovers like this and other DIY projects, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button. And you can follow me over on Instagram at MelDidItHerself. I post there a little bit more regularly with all my projects. If you have any questions about projects of your own, feel free to comment below. And I thank you for being here with me today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!